Thank you very much, Ben. Speaking to Tim and Nick Gerhards, their twin brothers. Now we've got our penultimate race of the Junior Max season about to get underway, and your grid is as follows. Vilgot, Edqvist and Ollie Pilka on the front row. Chris Harnan and Jeffrey Fixer, row 2. Kai Rilets and Mike van Vugt, row 3. Christian de Klein and Flint Schuring, row 4. Then in his Mylan Coppens, Jeff Machiels, Danny Van Dyke, Daniel Ginchard, Georgios Kalifadis, Matthew Higgins, Spencer Schimmer, Bruno Mulders, Bart de Witt, Tom Breken, Tom Reinertz, Max Knappen, Jules Castro, Margot Bonvoisin, Nikita Genzer, Tom Adams, Lars Zeinen, Oscar Christiansen, Jan Ozoffi, Callum Voisin, Drake Janssen, Jules Van Hul, Daniel Surankov, Jos Peters, Summer Webb, Wood Kirstens and Sam Bergstein. That's the 35 strong. That's the quickest I think this season I've gone through a grid run, but ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go racing for the penultimate time, and as you can see, Vilgot Edqvist is actually on the Praga chassis that the Junior Max drivers will use at the 20th running of the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals at Sarno in Italy in just 2 weeks' time, from the 19th to the 26th. And one of the drivers from this field will take a ticket to that 20th anniversary event, the 20th running, with the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals having been inaugurated back in 2000. So, Edqvist, Pilka, Harnan, Fixer, Rilets, Van Vugt, de Klein, Schuring, Coppens and Machiels. That is your top 10. 35 young, hard, hungry, charging Junior Max drivers ready to go into battle for the penultimate time this season. This is the slowest they have been on a formation lap this weekend. This is where it all comes down to one moment in time. They come towards the tram lines. The Rotax Max engines roar into life. We go lights out. We head to turn 1 and 2, and it's 4 abreast at some point, round about the bottom part of the top 15, and everyone is trying to get through. And there is a multi-cart melee off of turn 2. There are several carts involved. That has completely changed the dynamic of this race. 2 GKS drivers. There's 2 drivers actually stuck together, and they're trying to pull the carts apart. One's got in the cart and trying to get going. So yellow flags off of turn number 2. One driver now pushing despondently 1 cart away. That's 34 drivers now continuing onwards. And we've got another spinner on the outside of turn number 6. So more carambolages than you can shake a stick at. It's 2 abreast going through turn 7, round about at the bottom part of the top 10. So multiple drivers compromised. And one of them looks to be Ollie Pilka, clearly out of position, right outside of the top 15, it looks like, and is nigh on 2, 3, nearly 4 abreast out of turn 9. How could you call that one in these wet weather conditions? Pilka completely sideways out of the exit of that corner. That is a disaster for the Polish driver. He's trying to get some training for the Grand Finals. I don't think he expected this kind of melee. I don't think anyone else did. It's a 2-2-2. And that is Kalifidis from Greece going absolutely sideways on the exit of turn number 11. Vilgot Edqvist in the meantime is being followed by Chris Harnan, Danny Van Dyke, Kai Rilets, Flint Schuring, Mylan Coppens, Mike van Vugt, Christian de Klein, Oscar Christiansen, Tom Reinertz. Where is Mike van Vugt in all of this? 7th. Dan Ginchard down to 18th. And the drivers involved, Jos Peters, Bart de Witt, Margot Bonvoisin was one of them, down in 32nd. Jules Van Hul all the way down in 34th. So it could be, that's Jules Van Hul that's unfortunately parked off at the exit of turn number 2 there as everyone's squabbling. Tom Reinertz clearly in the mix with Christian de Klein and Oscar Christiansen going through turn 6. And at the minute, the driver that's getting away is Sweden's Vilgot Edqvist. He's got a sizable lead over Chris Harnan as looks like Danny Van Dyke was trying to go around at the outside of his countryman through turn number 8. Couldn't get through. And it looks like that's Rilets in 4th, doing a great job in the wet as the young Belgian. He's got Flint Schuring up his back bumper, and just behind him is Mylan Coppens from Belgium. Then it's Mike van Vugt. Harnan up the inside of Van Dyke, up turn 11, and he blocks the door off firmly. Van Dyke slipstreams up the inside, slingshots past Harnan through into turn 11. You wanted unpredictable racing. Junior Max is giving it in spades right now as Vilgot Edqvist has schooled it away. He's got away from the rest of them. He's kept his nose clean. He was on pole position. He got away with it. And the main guy that has really, really fallen down the order, one of which is Ollie Pilka. He's back up to 14th, is the young Polish driver. Second in this year's Rotax Max Euro Trophy standings at the end of the season. And Again, it's 2 abreast at some points. It's nigh on 3 abreast at some points too. As drivers are really trying, as Van Dijk looks to be struggling a little bit. Well, some drivers are really, it looks to be Flint Schuring that might have been going through turn 6, but Vildegot Edquist now has the lead. Danny Van Dijk looks to be in 2nd position. Chris Harnan in 3rd and is trying to go up the inside of the Dutchman on turn 8. Van Dijk just cuts across the front bumper of the 264 quite convincingly there, but it was fair. He had enough gap to do it, and he made sure it counted. Kai Hillert's just really trying to fight some battles of his own, as Flint Schuring looks to have lost out to Mylan Coppens, as Van Dijk and Harnan at it again. Hillert's now behind us. Well, that's a great move from Flint Schuring if he can pull that off. He was right around the outside. Harnan goes up the inside of Van Dijk. Van Dijk slingshots past, gets the momentum, gets the pickup, and blasts past Harnan for 2nd place. Harnan goes straight back at Van Dijk, heading into turns 1 and 2. And just behind them is Flint Schuring and Mylan Coppens battling over 4th place. Kai Rielert's just keeping his nose clean there. And behind them has got Christian de Klein and Mike Van Voort, who just unceremoniously bumps over the curbs like it was going out of fashion over turn number 3 there. Matthew Higgins is now up into 9th place and has got Jeffrey Fixer just behind for close quarter company. But it's all kicking off outside of the top 4. There is an almighty squabble for 5th. There's 4 karts involved, and they're heading into turn 7. And at the front of that train, it is the 216. Well, it was the 216 of Flint Schuring. Kai Rielert's trying to get past the 216. Danny Van... that is... I can't even keep up. These youngsters are getting me out of breath really quickly. Mike Van Voort behind Rielert's. And that's Christian de Klein there. So that's an almighty titanic scrap for what is effectively 5th place on the road. As Christian de Klein goes up the inside of Van Voort, it looks like. Rielert's just up ahead. Van Voort gets better purchase as opposed to de Klein going out of turn number 11. So... still leading the way. Vildegot Edquist has an absolutely almighty lead. 3.5 seconds over Danny Van Dijk. Then it is Chris Harnan. Mylan Coppens in 4th. Flint Schuring in 5th. Kai Rielert's in 6th. Ahead of Christian de Klein. Mike Van Voort now drops down into 8th position. Ollie Pilker now back up into the top 10. He's got past Matthew Higgins, who has got just behind him Tom Heinertz. So that's the battle for 10th position. Top 15 will score in this final. Jeff Machiels, Oscar Christensen, Daniel Ginshard. And then we got one kart the wrong way. That is that Tom Braken? Is that Tom Braken that's just gone round the other way, punching the steering wheel with frustration? Couldn't really catch the number. I'll see very shortly, but that looked like Tom Braken's kart that was round the wrong way between turns 3 and 5. So, 4 minutes and 55 left to go, plus an additional lap in what has been an absolutely topsy-turvy Junior Max penultimate race of the season. So, Edquist is leading. Van Dijk is in 2nd. Chris Harnan now has a bit more of an advantage over Dan Ginshard. And now Chris Harnan has pounced on Van Dijk, got a better run through turn 12, got the power down, but now Van Dijk has the advantage in terms of momentum and slipstream. Takes a wider line going into turn 2. Cuts to the inside. Does he get past? Oh, he goes a bit tail happy coming out of turn 2. Harnan back on the offensive. Up the inside very cleanly through turn 3. Van Dijk gets an absolute run of momentum. Up the inside of Chris Harnan through turn 4. Harnan responds and goes up the inside of him through turn 5. This is absolute dynamite here. My goodness me. And Van Dijk and Harnan nearly lost out to Mylan Coppens. I'm going to need to be in a dark room and I need a bed to lie down in a minute if these 3 don't stop battling between themselves. As Harnan again goes back into 2nd. Van Dijk round the outside. Harnan up the inside. Retakes 2nd. Coppens is there with them now. And goes up the inside of the pair of them. He takes the tighter line through turn 9. Van Dijk responds, gets through. And with them, that looks to be Flint Schuring. Flint Schuring up the inside of Mylan Coppens for position. They're scrambling, they're battling all over each other. And Van Dijk goes round the outside of Chris Harnan. Coppens gets the run on Flint Schuring to take back 4th. Schuring is trying to respond. Harnan's going to try and do what he can to get past Van Dijk, because the gap is absolutely gargantuan between 1st and 2nd right now. 6.2 seconds. And Flint Schuring goes up the inside of Mylan Coppens, it looks like, gets a bit deep in the braking zone. Christian Decline now up behind Kai Rielats, who has just been biding his time, but Decline's going to try and get past. And in some respects, a little bit of impediment there for Kai Rielats, as he was right on the back bumper of Flint Schuring there. And in the meantime, Van Vught at the minute is in 8th place. So there are more positional changes than I can shake a stick at the moment, quite literally, because Vilgot Edqvist on the Praga chassis just running away. Harnen and Van Dijk re-embroil themselves into their battle over 2nd position. But now Van Dijk has got a bit more run on his countryman at the minute. So quite a few drivers out of customary position. Dan Ginchard is now in 13th. As the race to Sarno continues here, some of the drivers have already qualified in this field, including Mike Van Vught and Tom Heinarts. The two that have really been battling for it at the moment are Chris Harnen and Dan Ginchard, who both want to go to Sarno in just 2 weeks. Oh, we've had some time penalties issued. 298 looks to be one of them. 207 looks to be another. 207 is Bruno Mulders. I will wait until I get informed on the timing screen very, very shortly. But who would have thunk it that we would have had such an entertaining battle? We've still got 90 seconds plus an additional lap of this race still to go. Vilgot Edqvist has a 6.2 second lead at the moment. 3 retirements thus far. Jeffrey Fixer, Bart de Wit and Jules Van Hoel. Van Hoel didn't even make it on the first lap. Neither did Bart de Wit. So it's been a drama for some of the drivers out there. Top 15 at the moment. Vilgot Edqvist leads still, as Tom Heinarts and Matthew Higgins are still battling tooth and nail over 10th position. Higgins still keeping his nose in front at the minute, as Flint Schuring now behind Mylan Coppens, as Christian Decline goes up the inside of the 216 through turn number 10. Rielats has got a good bit of purchase in the 274, but Schuring absolutely explodes out of turn 11 up the inside of Christian Decline, who then goes wide and allows both Christian Decline and also Kai Rielats to go through. So Schuring just got an absolute barnstormer of purchase coming out of turn 11 and flew down to turn 12, and I think he just outbraked himself there. But also the atmospheric, the wet weather conditions definitely catching drivers out. They think, yeah, I can go for the move, I can get it. And then they realise it's too late, and that's what just happened with Flint Schuring. 15 seconds on the clock to go. Edqvist, Van Dijk, Harnen, Coppens, Decline, Van Vught, Schuring, Pilker, Rielats, Higgins, Heinarts, Machiels, Zanen, Ginchard and Schinner. Those are the top 15. And there looks to be another time penalty being issued. I'm not too sure what these are for, but the timer is now expired, as Vilgot Edqvist comes through into turn number 10 and nearly puts 2 wheels on the grass there. He's really pushing the limits of adhesion on these wet weather Mojo tyres. So he's going to get the final lap board now. So that looks to be Sorankov that's got the time penalty there. So Edqvist has a sizable lead, as more drivers trying to battle amongst each other. This looks to be Oscar Christensen and Bruno Mulders there battling away, but Bruno Mulders looks to have got a time penalty. I haven't had everything completely ratified and confirmed, as Christian Decline is battling away, and it's getting all nasty through turn number 2 and 3. Pilker's definitely in there. He's got past Flint Schuring. He's gone up the inside of the Polish driver on the Rolf Schumacher chassis. Oh, Pilker nearly loses it coming on the outside of turn number 4 there. But he kept it planted, my goodness me. So, Vilgot Edqvist now comes through turn 8 for the final time here. Danny Van Dijk and Chris Harnen are about 6 to 8 kart lengths adrift of each other, as Christian Decline and Flint Schuring taking that title line. And it looks like Ollie Pilker's made up another place. He was running 8th. I think he's gone up to 7th now. But this time around, the checkered flag will be prepared and it will wave. And what a drive from pole position, lights out to checkered flag. It's going to wave now for Sweden's very own Vilgot Edqvist on the 205. What a dominant display from the young Swede on the Praga chassis, getting prepared for the grand finals in 2 weeks and takes the penultimate race victory of the season. Danny Van Dijk takes 2nd. 5.7 seconds behind Chris Harnon in third after a dynamic toe-to-toe mano-a-mano battle with several drivers. Chris Harnon in third, Milan Coppens in fourth, Christian de Klein in fifth, Mike van Vught takes sixth ahead of Ollie Pilker, Kai Gielerts takes another top 10 finish in eighth ahead of Flint Schuring. Well done to Matthew Higgins for fending off Tom Heinertz for a 10th place finish, with Heinertz, Jeff Michiels, Lars Zenin, Dan Ginchard and Oscar Christensen rounding out the top 15. Spencer Schinner, Bruno Mulders, Jules Castro. Tom Braken actually finished 19th at the end of that race, ahead of Max Knappen. Tom Adams, 21st. Nikita Genzer. Then we'd had Jano Zopfi, Summer Webb, Daniel Sarankov, Margot Bonvoisin, Callum Voisin, Georgios Kalifadis, Derek Janssen, Wood Kirsten, Sam Bergstein and Charles Peters running at the 32 that finished that race, with Jeffrey Fixer, Bart de Wit and Jules Van Hoel not finishing.